There are films that, just by their very nature, require visual effects. This is because it would be impossible to make them otherwise. For example, sci-fi movies, monster movies, and, of course, every single Marvel movie ever made. But whereas Marvel films are criticised for overusing VFX, movies like The Pirates of the Caribbean aren't, even though they too used VFX in almost every shot. Now, it probably won't surprise you to learn that a massive cannon fight between galleons at sea wasn't done with real ships on the ocean, or that ships rising out of the ocean, Jack Sparrow turning into a skeleton, or a man with an octopus for a face weren't actually real. But what actually might surprise you is the level of technical knowledge, attention to detail, and complexity that is involved in making us believe that they were. For example, did you know that the texture of Davy Jones's tentacles actually came from scanning a dirty styrofoam coffee cup? Complexity. A scene that perhaps demonstrates best the complexity involved in the VFX of Pirates of the Caribbean is the ghost shark scene in Dead Men Tell No Tales. This scene actually had to be shot in 3 different locations. One was on an island location, shot with a drone, and used for the various backgrounds of the scene. Another shot was in a small water tank in front of a blue screen. This part was used when the actors or the boat had to directly interact with the water. And the last was on an interior blue screen soundstage with the rowboat on a gimbal. Different parts of these 3 shots were then composited along with CG water elements and, of course, the digital ghost shark models, which were made by scanning the practical puppets used on set and then doing a digital takeover where they impact with the water, which was also CG. Technical know-how. New software and tools were developed for every Pirates of the Caribbean film in order to solve different problems. In this scene at the world's end, Digital Domain used their award-winning software, FSIM, to enable artists to composite different layers of debris that could interact seamlessly with the actors filmed on the blue screen soundstage. For this scene on the Stranger Tides, in order to apply different rings to each rope to allow for different types of animation, MPC developed the new technology they made to animate the Nagini character in the Harry Potter films. They also developed a new IK spline solver called Curve Sampler Node, which allowed the rope to travel along the path to the spline without stretching, and gave animators finer control and confidence that the action would stay where they were keyed even if the other parts of the rope were moving. In Dead Men Tell No Tales, the thousands of hairs on Salazar's head needed to collide and interact with each other, but they also needed to be directable. MPC developed new tools to allow animators to control the performance of the hair whilst maintaining the physical simulations that kept it looking natural. Attention to detail. As we mentioned earlier, the texture of Davy Jones's tentacles was made from a scan of a styrofoam coffee cup. But Davy Jones wasn't the only character to receive so much attention to detail. Every pirate in the first film had to be recognizable when they were seen in their skeletal form. This was done by starting with a generic skull and modifying it for each actor's face. The modeling team then built a model to achieve the desired look for the decomposed skin. View painters then scanned a sample of the skin created by the modeling team and used it to apply the decaying flesh look on the digital skull. Each pirate also had to have a distinct level of decomposition and their own specific texture. For example, for the pirate Pintel, they took digital photos of turkey jerky and used that to add texture to his skull. Not only did the skeletons have to resemble the actors, but they also had to move like them. This was done by shooting a live-action plate of every skeleton scene, then shooting a clean plate and then using the live-action plates to reference each actor's movements. This level of attention to detail was continued in Dead Man's Chest and At the World's End, and not only with Davy Jones, but also with the Flying Dutchman crew. Each crew member had to have his own distinctive look, and even though they had no real dialogue and only really appeared in action scenes, the VFX team still included a history for each character's look development. Starting on the basis that the crew lived at the bottom of the sea and had mutated, they began designing the crew members to be covered in mollusks and shells. But they soon realized that in order for them to be realistic, they had to at least resemble the actors playing them. So they picked different sea creatures to match each actor's physical attributes and personality. The attention to detail applied to every aspect, the drive to improve and strive for perfection, and the unwillingness to settle for anything less is what made the visual effects and the Pirates of the Caribbean films themselves so good they built a franchise that could have had more than 5 films, but unfortunately won't because...
I'm dead. That's me. I won't be in 6.